Hello and welcome everyone. This is Mike. I'm the founder and CEO of SuiteDash. This video is just one in a series of many videos that will be highlighting both new and current features. Be sure that you're subscribed on YouTube and following us on all social media to get the latest videos and updates about new and existing features. Alright, so let's get started. Let's talk about one-click automation trigger. Alright, so that's the name of the feature, and it's related to what we call auto templates. Okay, so auto templates are pre-configured sets of automations, or automation sets we would call them. So in a case like here, we see everything from invoicing. This is just a test auto template, but the idea of it is you can see that there are many different actions combined into one auto template that is then given a name. Okay. And before now, or before this current iterations of features, the way that you would use something like this was, it still can be used like this, but the best way to use something like this would be at a human interaction point, or what we call a checkpoint. Somewhere where you have the need to have a human review some information and make a decision, are we going down path A, path B, or path C? And the more you can quantify and systematize your business, the better in this way. And so imagine that you made an auto template for path A, path B, path C, and then your human interaction, your human decision maker decides, okay, this is a path B scenario. They can go to the actual contact and easily trigger auto template. Missing where it is, but you can trigger it directly from here, auto template A, auto template B, okay? And so then for this person, they will become the target of the auto template and all the automations would happen directly for them. All right? So that's good. That's great. That allows you to, say, automate the first part of an onboarding as much as possible, as much as it makes sense in your business. Collect all the information you need to get to that human decision point. You take that human decision point, you systematize that, as we said, into A, B, and C, or however, whatever it means to you. And then your human decision maker would go to SuiteDash and then trigger the appropriate auto template that would then kick off, say, 3-4 more automations that then puts you back on like another slide. Imagine like Chutes and Ladders, right? So you you walk along a little bit and manually, and then you kick that auto template, and then boom, you're on the slide again, and everything is in their court. It's all automation. You hit another checkpoint. You have another set of auto templates that kick you back into an automation. And so while everything in your business can't be automated, that's for sure. We know that. Everybody needs to understand that. Next best thing is that you then take those checkpoints, those human decision moments, and you create a package of automations that kick you back into that automation path. And then, as few of those as you can make, better, but either way, you're still systematizing your business. You're kicking things off with one click that has 6 actions instead of 1,600 clicks that finally get those 6 actions taken care of. Okay, so that's what auto templates can do for you, and that's why you want to create one, in addition to the fact that anytime you land into an automation opportunity where you're configuring it, you can preload the automations that you need there with an auto template if in fact that works for you. So it's also maybe a starting point to build automations onto an invoice, for example. If you use the same set of if you're manually creating invoices, right? Because you need to do it that way, but you want to have some predictable automations that you're using for every invoice that you manually create. Instead of building them one at a time, each time you make an invoice, you can open the invoice, create the invoice, and then go to the automations area, the widget, and load a template that's already pre-made by you, and then it's much faster that way, and then you create the invoice. So that's in the case you're using manual creation. It's helpful in that case. But what we can also do is now you can trigger these automation templates with one click from the client side. Okay, so let me show you how this works. So what I'm on here is a portal page, and you can also do this in custom menus. We'll show you that next. But I've created a really simple mock-up that will help us illustrate this, okay? So imagine that you're a podcast production company. People create a podcast, they do the recording, and then they don't have in-house staff to do the editing. They send it to you, and your company does all the editing, puts the intro, the outro, levels all the audio, does all that stuff that does take a lot of time. And you set everything up for them and then give it all back to them in a packaged up system that you agree on. Okay, so that's your service. So what you can do in a case like this is, instead of having them fill out, say, a work request every time or something like that, you can set up a page where they just click one button that kicks off an automation, an auto template that you specify that has everything built in. It has the project generation, it has the emails to your staff, it has an email to them telling them what the next steps are. Maybe it moves them into a different circle that suddenly adds more menu items and more options. Maybe you redirect them to a form where you intake the project information. Lots of options like that, right? And in fact, the whole automation set of options becomes available to you with just one click of a button using this process. All right, so let's look a little deeper. All of these options are normal. These are things that you've seen before, even the placeholder here. And we'll get to what this means in just a second. But now the button block. Now this is the key, right? So we have a button block. We've called it here, use the button text. But here's the trick, right? Trigger auto template. And now you can select any one of the auto templates that you have created and reference by name. You can create a success message here. And you can even, this is fun, limit the number of triggers and clicks. Because, of course, maybe if you put this on a portal page, you don't want somebody clicking, and triggering your automations over and over again. Maybe in some cases you do, but most likely in most cases you don't. And a lot of you may end up using the static number option and just set it for 1, right? This might make sense in your business, and I can see this in a lot of cases where you're leading them through an onboarding or some kind of reboarding, and you just want them to have a very easy way to click this button one time and then never see it again. Okay, that's great. Static number 1, we're good. And then you have this option for hiding the button or doing nothing, or hide the entire row that contains the button. So similar to this case where I have this entire row with a button inside of it, maybe I want to make 5 different rows with 5 different services that have clicks, buttons inside of them, and when they click it the prescribed number of times, the whole row disappears. Now there's some option where I might need that. But in this case, what I'm trying to achieve, and I will show you, and I'm just going to build out this use case, and I think it'll help make sense instead of trying to explain it from the settings. Let's look here at what I call the credit system workflow. Okay, so the idea here is that I want to sell my client 5 of these, my service, which is this podcast production, and I'm going to try to sell them a number of credits instead of them paying one at a time. So this has the same effect in business, and it's very popular in the same way that gift cards are popular. Yep, you can sell gift cards, and the statistics are that about 75% or less of them are redeemed to full value, right? So this is, it's not any kind of malpractice or unethical on your part, but if you sell 5 credits and they never use them, hey, that's not your fault, right? So what you can do is create up with this system. You can create credits, a credit system that you then sell and decrement each time they use the service to order by 1. So the idea is this: portal page with a description of service and an order button. I just showed you that. For each client, the unique count is decremented by 1. And why is that? All right, let's look back. Because I'm able now to use I'm limiting the number of triggers or clicks based on a number type custom field, which we know when we create a custom field that creates a custom field for every user each user has their own unique value. Okay, so one user can have 5, one can have 3, one can have 2. What this is going to recognize is who is logged in and using this page. If the person logged in and using it has 3, okay. If the person is logged in and using it has 5, that's fine too. So what you're going to say is I'm going to limit the number of triggers based on custom field. Here you're going to identify the custom field. I've created a specific custom field used for just for this, purpose-built podcast production credits. And after the limit is reached, I want to hide the button. Okay? So what I'm doing now is I'm going to say, you have this many available to you. Click it. You'll be able to click it that many times. Each time it'll be decremented by 1 until we reach 0, and at which point the button will go away, which means they cannot order anymore. Okay? So let's look again at the diagram here. So for each count, the unique count is decremented by 1, so they get 5. Then they click 4, 3, 2, 1, just like you think, 0. And now the order button is hidden. The service cannot be ordered anymore. Okay. Now this is where we're going to stop today, but on Wednesday I'm going to continue and show you how the loop finishes, and that's using the dynamic logic engine, which is also released in live. And you will use that to detect that the custom field is equal to 0. And when this happens, it's going to fire an automation that will create an on-demand invoice generator that will have an automation already built into it, that when the invoice generated by this generator, this invoice generator, is paid, it will, one of the automations is it will change the value of the custom field back to 5 or current value plus 5, which will then restore this credits back to 5, and the button will then show again, and your loop is closed. Now your user can order his 5 credits again, just like before, and we continue the loop over and over again. So this is a very simple workflow, but those of you out there who understand what this is capable of, and as those of you who are learning will start to realize there are a great many things that can continue here and be added to this as a framework. Tim has a question about Vicky. Tim, yeah, all your messages are going to be visible, so that's okay. Yes, we'll make sure that you have that, but you can email Vicky at SuiteDash.com and she'll get it. It's that simple. Okay? Until we hire multiple Vickies, that's the way it'll be. Okay. All right, so here we are back here just to get another look at the template. And now let's look really quickly at what it looks like on the client side, okay? On the client side, I have a client logged in, Harrison Ford here. He's looking at, and I've created a menu item really easily so you can understand from his dashboard, okay, he logs in, and then you create a custom menu item that leads to this portal page, which, here's a little bonus. Let's look together. Easy to create a menu item that direct link to specific portal page, podcast production. That's how that was created. Okay. Let's go back. All right, so now he's clicking this link. He's going directly to that portal page that was set up in that way, and he sees that he has 5 episode credits remaining. Okay, and we can look at that in our side too, on the admin side from his dashboard. Okay, but now watch what happens when he orders his podcast production. Remember that behind this button we have an auto template set up, so we can make it do a dozen different things. Very simple. Let's click it. He's going to get the custom thank you message, which you can customize here. Then he's going to get a refresh, and now you can see he has 4 episode credits remaining. Behind the scenes, all the things that you have specified in the auto template are now taking place. If it was me, I might create a project which has a project template. I'm going to use a generator that has a template. All the right people will be notified. I might send a file request. I might redirect him to another page from here that has an update form that I'm using as a project form, for example, and then launch the project from there. There's many different things you can do here depending on your business application. But what we've done is we've now taken a credit and it's displayed to him. Everything is there. Let's look again at the options here. So I have it set at only the click action is only trigger auto template. But understand that you can do any of these other options, okay? I can say navigate to start page. I can say navigate to a portal page. And this would be like in the case that you were going to redirect him to another portal page where there's a form where you're going to intake information about, maybe they're going to upload the podcast episode, or maybe they're going to tell you about the subject matter, et cetera, et cetera. So you can do that. You can do this. You can do any number of these things. All of these are available to you, and I could make a use case for each one of these, right? But if you don't want to redirect them and you want it to look and act just like I showed you, where it shows them a success message and then refreshes and shows them the next state, then just trigger auto template will, and this is why this is grayed out, because there's no other options, okay? But again, you can redirect them to all these different places and trigger the auto template. So that gives you the opportunity to have the auto template triggered and have a redirect. Okay, let's go back to here and again just see this one more time and see that we are going down to 3. Let me also do my best to provide you with some visibility on the emails received. Pardon me. Okay, I'm going to click one more time here. And oh, well, that's right. I wanted to make sure you saw the auto templates. Okay, so here's the auto templates. So I have one for launch podcast production service, right? And so you can see that the automations, we can look at it from here. Well, let's look at it from here. Auto templates. The automations are these 2 emails. Service order received. Hi, you should receive a file request, a new podcast episode production. So these 2 emails are just a very simple thing that we've configured to be sent out. And and here's just what the email just show that these emails were just sent out, right? Okay. So that's how easy it is, right? Just create your auto template that sets up the automations that you want to trigger, set up a portal page, or I'll show you in just a second the custom menu option. You can limit it based on any configuration you'd like, but you're seeing how it could be limited and used in one of the more complex ways, which is like a credit system or something that fits that description. And then here, let's just keep going because I want to make sure you get to 0 so you see that action. So one at a time. This is a super simple example. And now on the last click, he's got one left. And the button is hidden, right? So now we're done. Now what you could also do is, and we'll discuss this on Wednesday, you could use the dynamic logic engine to also, when he recognizes that the condition is 0, which is now, change a circle and actually show and hide different rows on this portal page based on the circle. And in doing that, you can give them extra messaging like, oh yeah, sorry you used up all your credits. Here's the next thing you can do. You could pop a notice in the corner here. You could do all sorts of things based on the circle change when you reach this state of 0. But one of the things that you might want to do, I'm guessing automatically, is what we're trying to set up here at reset podcast production credits. And you're going to want to look at, okay, if this production credits equals 0, then apply on demand invoice generator, and that's what I'm saying before in this diagram is here. Now you're applying the generator that can get paid and move us back to 5. All right, well here we are at 0, and we know that we don't have any other buttons left, or any other credits left. But now what we can do is make sure that we can go to this client's dashboard and do a quick edit and end up here, right? So I've put this one right at the top. You can always star these and put them, drag and drop the order to make sure that you get what you want at the top. So now let's just change it back to 5. And it doesn't matter how you change it back to 5, whether you're using an automation or whether you're using a form or a staff submit form or any manual or automated way that it gets changed back. We always recognize that the custom field value has changed, and so now it's changed. If we go back and do a refresh, then you'll see that these credits have now been refreshed. So again, that can be a manual process or an auto template process in your world, or again, you could set up the logic engine to recognize the condition and change it for you automatically, or not change it, but send the invoice, for whatever $1,000, they pay it, then you refresh you add the credits based on that. And again, we'll discuss this on Wednesday with the logic engine. All right, so what you've seen is this one-click automation auto template trigger and some application of how to use it and how it could be used. And again, the imagination is your only limit here. Let's go back and look now that this is not only available in the button block, but it's also available in custom menus. So let's look here. So if you were to create a brand new menu item, you can make the link action trigger auto template. Okay, so you can make this launch project, launch my project. It doesn't matter what it needs to say, but your auto template will be made by you to do exactly what you need it to do, so that when the logged in user, who is the target, clicks it, the standard onboarding or whatever that is means to you will happen, and they'll have a success message. And again, you can also limit the number of triggers or clicks in the menu item based on the same values, right? Even custom field value, same thing. And you can either hide the menu item or do nothing when the limit is reached. So this is it's the same. It's the same as a portal page. I think in the portal page somehow you get more value because you can use context. You can explain in a paragraph what's going to happen, like you saw in our example. But there could be times when, like, let's do a quick example. Launch my project. Launch my. That's not going to fit. Let's see. Director project. We'll just use that. Okay, success message. Nice job. Okay, so if you are an advanced user, you'll understand where I'm going here eventually, and we're going to hide the menu. Okay, let's get an icon. All right, let's click add. Let's move it up. Maybe we want it to be at the top. But here's the key: visibility. Okay. So now let's say we only want this menu item to be available to a specific circle. Okay. What does that mean? Well, so what it means is when people in this circle log in, that only they will see this menu item. What if I removed all of the menu, every single thing from every use, from all the clients and prospects, and then decided I'm only going to show these menu items to people based on circles? And if you were onboarding someone and you said, okay, I only want this menu item with this trigger, this automation trigger, to show to this circle. Okay, great. They will log in, they'll see it, they'll be able to click it one time, we said. They click it, what happens on the click? An automation, which means you can change the circle, right? So if that means I could set up another one of these for the second circle that I'm changing to with a completely different set of automations, and I could literally go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, automation, 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 strung together so that each time they clicked it, they would get a success message, they would hit a refresh, the menu would be populated with a different item or set of items. So you could take them through a laddered onboarding that's completely customizable and hard to mess up if they don't have any menu items except for the ones you specify And then on each click, all the automations kick off just as you configure. So some of you may find that this menu option is a good one for your use case and might be a good fit for you. Some of you may find that the portal page option is better. But for sure, this is giving you a really pretty incredible option to move things quickly so that it's just one click to fire an auto template, which can then link you to the next phase in your plan, which can be another click that fires another auto template somehow, or after some process. So this is the idea: a single click automation trigger that gives you another tool that you can put into the toolkit and get closer to an efficient automations flow that doesn't require, maybe before. One of the ways to do this previously was to, say, on the portal page, embed an update form that maybe asked a question or did something, maybe like even a throwaway question, like a checkbox. Check this box to agree. We used to recommend doing that as a way to, if you really needed to accomplish exactly what we're doing here, it would be possible. But in that case, you had to create the update form. It's a little bit of friction. And then on that update form, you had to create the automations uniquely for that update form. In this case, you have an auto template that's a single point of edit, single point of modification, and it gives you the ability to call that from anywhere with this one-click automation trigger. And in addition, you get the powerful options of limiting based on a number custom field. And this is really opens up a wide variety of really programming where you can create these automations and these processes that can work for you in a 24/7 kind of way. Yeah, exactly, David. I know. It's so one of our challenges in SuiteDash is that these tools that we're building are meant to be very generic in a way that you could apply them in many different ways. And then one of the challenges is to try to help everyone see how this can fit into your business and bridge that gap of, wow, that's really cool, but how can I use it? So in some cases, this is the kind of thing you'll need to sleep on it and figure out, like, okay, what can I do? The main thing that you can think about in your business to start to parallel and bring your processes closer to what automation can do for you. And it's not just SuiteDash. If you're thinking in terms of automation, which is actually a fast track to profitability and reducing the amount of time that you spend actually working as a administrator, we want you to work as a professional, right? That means you should work as a professional doing what you are professional at, and that's it. And everything else you should try to automate or delegate. But first thing you should try to do is automate. And that gets rid of your admin duties. And the more you spend time building this as a business that can automate, and the admin side of it becomes predictable in a way that you can streamline it like this. When you do that, you really move towards a real business where you work as a professional only, and the rest of it is handled by technology in this case. Tim says, can this be used to request a special training or email series to start after they pay an invoice? Absolutely. Such as a training purchase that gives 52 email trainings and tax deductions. Yes, Tim, that would be a drip sequence. So what you can do is, in any automation, what we call an opportunity, at any opportunity, you can, but you don't need an auto template, and you don't need that for this, Tim, to do what you're saying. So what we can do in your case is any invoice, and you probably want to do it in the invoice generator side, either on the on-demand or the recurring or however you do it, just to keep it in an automation. You want to set that. Let's look, and I'll jump a little bit further down down the rabbit hole here. I'm going to go to on-demand generators, right? So this means that this is a generator type designed to be triggered by an automation. We have some exciting additions coming here that I won't get into now, but without other than saying it's a dynamic item that can be put into this on-demand generator that can be populated in an automation. But what you'll see here, this is going to be used to charge back up the credits, right? So when the number gets to 0, the logic engine will call this on-demand generator. And as a part of this on-demand generator, see, this is not an invoice, guys. It's really important to understand. This is not an invoice. This is a generator of invoices. It creates invoices. It's a configuration of invoices. And so when this one is triggered, it's going to create an invoice, yes. But it also is going to pass on all the metadata and all the assignments. All right, Taylor, sure. Thank you, man. It's going to pass on all the metadata and assignments that are here. And one of those is this one, right? Here's the automations. So it's saying on every invoice that is created from this generator, you're going to also configure the automations that will be attached to that invoice, which in this case means when podcast production credits, when the invoice is paid, trigger these automations. And in this case, I want you to set the custom field value of podcast production credits at current value plus 5, which you see the math. This is about custom field math here. So in all cases, the value will actually be 0, but in the future, your customers may say, you know what, send me an invoice in advance. I want to go ahead and pay it to make sure that I have enough credits. And you say, okay, sure. And you trigger the on-demand generator. And it gets sent to him, and he has 2 credits left, and he pays it. Well, in that case, it'll take the current value of 2, add 5, and he'll have 7 credits. Right? So this is a smarter way to do it. So in your case, Tim, on your on-demand invoice generator that you might put into place for your automations, you would also here look for audience. You're going to add to the audience, and then you're going to create an audience that's really designed to, doesn't matter what we call it, it's just any one of these, but you'll create an audience. That's the audience of people who you want to receive this training, and then on that audience level, you're going to click drip sequence, and that's where you're going to create all of your drips, which is each one of them a message. 52, is that right? 1 a week. So you're going to say after 7 days, after 14 days, after 21. Wow. Yeah, that's good. 52 different ones. All right, man, you're going to stay busy. So anyway, and then see now I've configured these automations, and now I'm going to save this. And now every generator, every time this gets called, and let's just look really quickly. I'm going to end up doing Wednesday session. I can see it right now. Here's reset podcast production credits. See the automations? Automations, apply on-demand generator, 5 credit charge up for the podcast production service, right? That's the auto template. But what's going to trigger this auto template is this logic. If the custom field value, podcast production credits equals 0, that means this guy gets down to 0. As soon as he's at 0, trigger this, right? And it could just be this on-demand generator that then says, you tell the generator, attention, on-demand generator. I need you to generate an invoice for this guy based on the configuration that I told you previously. And he says, yes, sir. Tell me exactly who I need to send this to. Who's the target? And then the platform passes that information to him because we know it. It says, it's Harrison Ford. Okay, great. That's all I need to know. I have all the other variables. You gave them to me. That's the only variable I need. I have Harrison Ford. I have all the other information. Boom. He creates that creates that invoice, and the invoice emails go out if that's what you wanted to happen. It goes in Harrison's list. He can pay it. And when he pays it, it's going to, that's the next part of your automation you configured. He's going to get his 5 credits, and he's going to end up right back here and be able to order more podcast production episode services.